Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. We are back, me, Beau Oliver, and Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, for another review of The Boys, Season 2, Episode 7, Butcher, Baker, Candlestick Maker. Yeah, that's a bar, man. Billy Butcher on the tracks.
The world still needs superheroes. So let's get out there. Let's take these cocksuckers down.
We are famous now.
Don't you worry. Daddy's home.
Well, Aaron, last week you said that Episode 6 was the best episode of the season. I think Episode 7 of this season was the best episode of the show, and easily my favorite episode of the season. It was fantastic from beginning to end.
No, I think it was a strong episode. I still think last week's was a little better, but...
How dare you?
I think this week's was pretty much just as good, save, and I know we disagree with this on the Lamplighter stuff, but we'll get into all that.
That might end the channel. Lamplighter. Our disagreements over this character. Yeah, I thought it was easily the most poignant, episode of the entire series, because there's so much regret and sadness, and all of the characters, it felt like, were facing their past in the face of their parents, and how they were raised, and how this has really formed them to become the person they are today, all across the board, and all of those scenes. I mean, Billy Butcher confronting his father, Homelander, Becca, and Stormfront, those scenes with Ryan were great. Starlight once again having that conversation with her mother, and even Lamplighter talking about he was a prodigy and his dad loved him. And look at him now, he's addicted to porn.
Yeah, no, I think it hit everything that makes this show special, with the comedy, the writing, delving into some deeper themes, action sequences, and just all-out batshit craziness at times. It's everything that makes this show so great.
Yeah, and I think a good place to start would be Lamplighter. We'll talk about that storyline with Huey, where all the boys are going off to do their own jobs, and Huey is assigned to watch Lamplighter, and they're just sitting there watching the porn.
Just a weird move just to watch porn in the broad daylight with some guy you just met.
Huey does say that. Yeah, you can't be watching porn in broad daylight.
You can, but maybe not as open.
I did get a chuckle when they were announcing that Starlight was the traitor on the news, and it goes back to Huey. And,
yeah.
Oh my God! And it's just the 6 guys with their dicks out.
And they both do talk about their father's Lamplighter, talking like someone who's stuck in high school, talking about his 2 sacks he had in the championship game in high school football.
Washed up athlete.
Yeah.
Thinking about the golden days.
Yeah, so...
There's a lot of that for him in this episode.
Yeah, and he's talking about, obviously, how he was a prodigy and just where he is now. And Huey talking about his father after his mother died, just doing nothing.
Right, yeah, even Huey there. Yeah, and this episode was very nihilistic, where a lot of the characters they're contemplating their situations, and a lot of them are coming to the conclusion that this is kind of worthless. Starlight says that to her mother, that I've been living my entire life for nothing. Mallory says that to MM, get away. This is a never-ending fight. I regret not getting away. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and Lamplighter is the character who makes the decision in this episode to kill himself. So it's gotten to a point where last week I thought, oh, he's so sympathetic, he's suffering, he wants to make a change. No, this character's just lost. He's just so corrupted in his ways, and he can't even live with himself anymore.
I would have liked more, I don't hate the idea of him being so lost that he decides to do that. Because at first, I thought, it's just a waste. There should have been a moment of at least some redemption for this character where and I thought that maybe he lit himself on fire to get the light for Starlight in order to break out. And I thought that would have been fucking awesome. But there's no way he would have known any of that.
Right.
So it's just
more coincidental.
It's just a coincidence. So if they tied it in that way and his last act of truly being a hero is saving Starlight, saving Huey in some capacity, then I thought that would have been a better way for this character to go out, especially with last episode and all the depth we got with him there. And they tried to make him a sympathetic character, and I think it worked, and he does have a lot of regret. Why not, I don't know, instead of just showing him in this episode as someone dwelling and kind of, I don't know, just have him go out at a high point or doing something for the team.
Yeah, and I thought with last episode we were going to get that, but I think in his scenes with Huey, you just see that this guy is just a douche. There is no redemption. There's no redemption available for him. And Shawn Ashmore has been great as his character. I didn't realize how good of an actor he was. Maybe they should have used him more in those X-Men movies.
Well, I'm saying they should have maybe used him more in the show as well. You know, you don't have to make him a douchebag. You know, they could have that episode after that, and he could just be kind of in a situation where he's ashamed, but, you know, he still wants to be the hero that he was or that other people thought he was.
And he does help Huey break in, and that was funny to me. Oh, fuck, I need his hand. He breaks the bottle. Ah!
Their safety response team is
atrocious.
Yeah.
It's just Black Noir. Black Noir is just security. I have to say, in this episode, he just kept beating the shit out of Starlight.
That scared me.
Just hit him with a tranquilizer.
In the
right?
beginning, when he's talking to her mom, and she's like, they could be tracking it, and it just explodes.
Yeah.
That scared the shit out of me.
He is kind of scary until you shove an almond joy in his mouth.
Someone commented to me, Chekhov's candy bar.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and Starlight finds herself in that green Supermax prison room where she has no access to her powers, can't escape. And this was interesting that the Seven decide to out her to the public, telling everyone that she's a mole. It's trending number one on Twitter. And Homelander even says, we should kill her. We shouldn't leave her alive because I've underestimated her before, and this could come back to bite us. And it will, eventually.
No, yeah, and that was a great scene when she sees Huey and that he actually came to save her.
That was a very touching moment.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Just shrugs his shoulders. I'm here for you. I love you.
Time and time again, Huey proves that he's just more than he is on the outside. Even if it was like Butcher and MM, you don't break into Vought, a superhero tower. Like, it's impossible to do. And Huey had the courage to go and try to save her, even if it might have cost him his life.
And in that beginning scene with Stormfront and Homelander holding the protest and outing Starlight as the mole, they also talk about how they made the donation in the name of the victim that was shot in the beginning of the episode and sort of the prologue. And they talk about thoughts and prayers, but then they move on. Let's get back to the facts. This country used to be a country under God, and these godless super terrorists are coming to get us.
Remember God? I mean, the commentary is it's pretty obvious here, and I think that, I don't know, they just tried to show, like, if you try to push a narrative based on fear, that fear can turn into violence in some people, and we see that with this character. I'm just going to call him Fat Neil, because that's his character in Community.
Okay.
It also shows the dangers of no simp September, because it's now October, and all that simping he couldn't do for Stormfront built up inside of him, and so once October hit, he's like, oh fuck,
He became Simp Lord.
yeah, I gotta kill in the name of Stormfront.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he won't be the last, because the Stormfront has it her way, and this is where they publicly
The
introduce...
fucking bobblehead, the posters. Come on, man. Who's
Those
gonna take care of your mom now? Neil.
Well, Stormfront says to the public, we need more soups. We need more soups to combat this. And Homelander, I was wondering with Homelander if he's going to be... If the split with Homelander and Stormfront comes from the fact that she was using these individuals as test subjects. Because even in this episode, Homelander brings it up when he's talking to Becca. You can't raise Ryan that way. That's how I was raised. Look how fucked up I am.
Yeah.
So he's very self-aware in the fact that he was raised the wrong way. And I wonder if when he discovers Stormfront's secret... Because remember, in episode 6, Homelander says, what are you hiding? And she doesn't tell him about the facility. She tells him about her past.
Mm-hmm.
So he's still yet to learn about that. But that was interesting.
Maybe he did off screen, but yeah, that will be interesting to see if...
Because he's all for it. More Compound V, more superheroes, right?
Yeah.
He's
it kind of mirrors what he went through in a controlled setting. We heard from Vogelbaum, it's like he had to make him the world's strongest man in the world. So he obviously might have tested him in the same way that people were being tested at the Sage facility.
Right, yeah. You wonder if they would ever come to blows and what type of fight that would be. I think that could be one of those big tragic moments that the boys like to do where Stormfront and Homelander have this personal beef and they destroy a city because of it. And they're just standing there, maybe like Teddy said, the foreshadowing them. It's them standing over a destroyed city. And the conversation that Vogelbaum is having with Billy, when Billy says, what was he like as a boy? He says he was sweet, he liked stories, manifest destiny. That's interesting. They always draw the parallels between these two characters, and they've been doing it throughout the season. But with the childhood, you see how their childhoods were very similar, and how they were both kind of just born and bred to be monsters.
Yeah, I mean, his father, Billy's father, that is... He's kind of proud of the man he's became. He's like, look at you, you know? Lenny would have never done that.
You're strong.
Yeah.
You afraid of anyone?
Terrible father in both Lord of the Rings and here.
He is not. He's good at playing bad fathers.
Yeah.
He's got an incredible voice, too. John Noble as Scarecrow in the Batman games. He's great. This scene was incredibly tense, man. That tension between a father and a son that have had a falling out, it's palpable. And Billy, I think Billy, the rage in his face, I don't think he's ever had such rage towards anybody in the show more than his father in this scene.
Even with like Homelander, he met him face to face earlier this season and he busted out a joke. I don't think anyone could play this character like Karl Urban, and just that I feel like anyone else that attempted Billy in some of his, like, I guess, I don't know how to describe these moments, but when he just swaggers on 100,000 billion, it's like it would come off
his
so...
swagger when he pulled up to Vogelbaum,
Dude.
it's like tell him it's Billy Butcher and he's ripping the cigarette in his teeth.
It would seem almost cartoonish if anyone else tried to attempt it, but the way it's so convincing with Carl Urban.
It's the scowl, it's the voice, the beard.
His movements,
the way he
struts. It's incredible. And yeah, that's usually how he acts, even with people that he doesn't like. But with this, it was a true hatred that we rarely see. We do see it a little bit later with Vogelbaum when you get the two Billies there when he threatens to kill his entire family.
Well, he's just taking it out on him.
Then he gets the tea and he's like, goes right back into that.
The flicker in his eyes, you could see the way that he
character.
changed. Yeah, he changes as soon as Vogelbaum's daughter comes into the room. And he's just taking it out on Vogelbaum because he can't kill his father in front of his mother, right? And this actually helps their plan. But we learn more about what happened with Lenny, that it looked like Lenny was just so traumatized by his father that he killed himself. Mm-hmm. And Billy's mom says to him later in the episode, this was more about you letting go of the trauma that your dad gave you. I think it just establishes that there were lives that these characters lived before we met them in The Boys, and it just adds more to their character development and more to Billy's fight against Vought. And once again, nihilistic. Why is Billy taking this fight so seriously? Why does he want this never-ending cycle of violence? Could be attributed to his father. And the way he turns it on, he has John Dooman, the Wire veteran, who is also incredible as Vogelbaum. When he turns it on and Vogelbaum starts shaking in his chair, how can you just sit there and be so mean?
When he drives over the lawn, it's so fucking funny when he enters the house.
He's such a dick. I even got a chuckle out of MM saying, damn, we're fighting for the wrong team.
Yeah.
And he rejects Mallory at first, saying that there are things that are more important than the right thing.
He's also got to think about his family, too, and that's the one thing
right, yeah.
he seems to have any connection with, and that's the one thing Billy attacks, so.
Your entire fucking family dies today.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, Homelander and Stormfront kidnapping Ryan in this episode.
I hate it. Like, I didn't hate these scenes because they were bad. I just...
cringy? Awkward?
It's like... I just feel it's so bad.
For the kid?
For Becca and the kid. Just to have this presence in your own home is just...
Do you like anything that kids like? NBA 2K? Beauty Pie? He's making all these Lego movies of Dances with Wolves and The Blind Side. It just made me cringe. Get that kid out of there, man.
Well, he's got a real talent.
Just drop that kid in the middle of a park somewhere. Let him get beat up. Let him play a game of kickball.
Okay, Homelander.
Well, Homelander even shows his sweet side. When he goes up to him, he kneels down and says, I'm sorry for what I did to you last week. That's the thing. Homelander can have these moments of empathy and self-awareness where he realizes that.
But it's for a completely selfish...
Yes. It's so that Stormfront, because Stormfront has that moment where she sees the mother and the child. And what does he think? Oh, we'll go kidnap my kid.
Yeah.
And even when they fly away, Stormfront's like, no, he'll have a mother. Peace.
I hate that too. Just the new stepmom coming in and like telling the mother what she can do.
I do hate when the stepmom butts in. He has a right to see his child. Shut the fuck up. You just got here.
Who are you? But for Becca, I mean, it's just terrible. She's defenseless. She can't do anything in this situation.
Well, this is where she goes back to Butcher, right?
Daddy's home.
Daddy's coming back to save your stepchild. And that would be a problem, especially if they start training him to use his powers.
Well, yeah, I mean, they show him the truth that... I don't know if Becca's been lying to him, but obviously there's more out there than what she has let on. Hell, kid didn't even see Homelander Origins. Who hasn't seen Homelander Origins?
That is true. I was wondering how she hadn't shown him that. Very uncultured. The Blind Side? Come on.
Yeah.
Right, well, she should have hit him with, you want to know the truth about your father? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they flew away, but you've been lying to me. Guess what? He's been lying to you a little bit too there, buddy. So eventually, I think, Ryan's not going to... Maybe he does. Maybe he gets so corrupted and he just becomes Superboy. That's season 6, 7, and 8. Spinoff show, baby.
Her only real, I guess, course of action in these scenes is to try to appeal to Homelander's empathetic side, which she doesn't have. So I thought that was a great scene, and I thought maybe for a second she might have broken through to Homelander.
Me too.
Obviously, you can't break through to Homelander. So, but I thought that was a great scene. Anthony Starr, again, we talk about it all the time, just how incredible he is in this role. Just the way he plays his character is so spot on and convincing.
When she's like, I need to talk to you outside, he's like, nah, we're having a good time here. He's such a prick. But yeah, no, in his own head, he's listening to Becca say he needs a mother, he needs to be raised the right way. And he's
yeah,
thinking,
it's me and Stormfront.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll take your advice. See ya. And we were wondering on our last reviews how Elena would take to seeing that video, because they do cut that scene short. And she leaves. In this episode, she decides to leave. And I think she realizes with Maeve, and I think this is similar with Lamplighter, where Maeve says, you've always wanted me to show you the real me. Well, this is it. This is what I am. There are no other sides to me.
Right.
I'm just caught. I'm just stuck in the middle. Even when Starlight says, come with me, she's like, I can't. And that was a very believable decision by Elena.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, what are you going to do? I mean,
this doesn't end with a happy ending.
No. And for Maeve, you see in that scene afterwards when, shout out to Maeve real quick.
Yeah, I mean, hey, right? Good for you.
And it must be nice to vape and not have to worry about any effects because you're super powered.
Yeah, I don't vape anymore. One, I don't want it to blow up or fry my lungs.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she's obviously going through it, and she's...
Well, she tells Ashley, hey, can you
like
just shut the fuck up for 1 second?
Be
Act like a human
being.
being. And Ashley realizes, oh, she just got dumped.
Yeah.
This isn't like something that we can fix.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a relationship.
And like most people, after you get dumped, you just go have a threesome.
Yeah, I think I'll do that next time. Yeah, and then she has the hero moment where she comes in, steps in, shoves the almond joy in Black Noir's mouth. I laughed out loud, dude, because that's why this show is so great. This guy has been kicking the shit out of Starlight the entire episode, throwing her into walls. The walls are fucking breaking. He's got a tree nut allergy. He's reaching for the EpiPen. She kicks it away. It's hilarious.
It is. I mean, Black Noir, man, he's a problem, huh?
He is a fucking unit, man. He's a bulldozer.
Yeah.
That's their entire security team. It's hilarious. And I think the comedy in this show, obviously, it is very off-color at times, but it just hits.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was a great little fight sequence, too. I wanted Maeve to join the boys. I think that would have been great because we keep talking about it. They need to put together a team of their own.
See, I think Maeve will get the Lamplighter redemption moment where it's going to be last second. The boys are done. Homelander's won, and then Maeve makes that one final decision to finally bring this empire down. Maybe gives her life in the process.
Maybe she just joins the church at a collective.
That would be hilarious, too. They are, I mean, the Deep and A-Train, what a friendship. They're both awful people, but I just like them together. I'm glad that they have each other. When he gives him the fish tank, he knows my name. They're in for it. I don't know what Alistar is planning with them.
Yeah.
But they're in for some trouble here.
Well, he said that he had the meeting with Edgar and that now more than ever they need familiar faces, which kind of makes sense if shit's hitting the fan involved to bring in some, recognizable fan favorites.
And we'll talk about conspiracies of who we think was behind that attack in the end. Could have been Alistar, but like I said, we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, but he outs Eagle the Archer as a traitor, and then they release the video of him banging his partner as a deer that he would hunt and then mount.
Well, I mean, you gotta play up to your character. He's Eagle the Archer.
Well, that's the thing. I think A-Train is obviously starting to realize these are bad people that we've gotten in with here. And the Deep, like, what do you think of Eagle the Archer? Oh, he's a great friend. He's a toxic personality. Yeah, come to think of it, he was a little toxic. Thinking back on it.
Nah, they do show that moment at the end when they're at the bar hanging out, and I think they're both kind of maybe questioning. But the Deep is just...
Yeah, A-Train says, wasn't he your friend?
Yeah. So I think A-Train, he's not fully, brainwashed yet. So you can still see some of the oddities of the Church Collective, where the Deep... They could tell him that he's a toxic and no good. And he'll probably be like, yep, yes, I am.
And we saw in this episode Kimiko and Frenchie getting back on good terms. Kimiko finally decides to teach him the language, the sign language that she has learned.
Why do you start with gun?
I know, right? Frenchie's like, oh, point taken. And once again, the writing has been so tight in this season when he mentions how, you die twice, when you take your last breath and when someone utters your name for the last time. That was just so touching to me, where he says, teach me your language so I could keep your family alive a little bit longer. That's the closest the show has ever gotten to making me cry.
And yeah, it's nice to see them back on the same page. And
they're a great couple.
Yeah.
They're adorable together.
Obviously, the biggest moment in this episode comes at the end when they finally are at the hearing. And yeah.
Yeah, there's not much you could say. Heads explode.
Yeah.
I did get a chuckle out of Annie's mom sitting in between Frenchie and Annie. She's just kind of squeezed in the couch looking at everyone. Frenchie's got his little snack. It's all there to watch the hearing. They throw the same pitch all the time where you think the boys are going to win and then something just completely out of nowhere happens.
It happens in such a
dramatic
crazy way. It's not like Vought just maneuvered around Vogelbaum's testimony, and they were able to make a compelling courthouse case and courthouse drama out of the situation.
But yeah, no, heads start exploding.
Yeah.
Heads start exploding. Everyone's going fucking nuts. Shockwave is killed.
Yeah.
I love when Ashley
R.I.P.
says, "You're fucking superheroes, do something."
Yeah, they're just standing there. It's like, oh, what the hell's going on?
Well,
here?
that was my favorite part, is that Homelander and Stormfront were just kind of trying to figure it out in their own heads. They weren't worried about being attacked. They were like, oh, this can't be the boys. Could it be Vought? Could it be someone else? Is this a third party? They had like hand on the chin, stroking, trying to crack the case, while everyone else is fucking writhing in pain. Their heads are exploding.
Right, and obviously obviously everyone's going to think it's Cindy from last episode and the person who killed Raynor.
I'm starting to think that's not Cindy. Because you made that point a couple weeks ago. Cindy she's never shown in these moments. And it seems like she's been locked away. And
yeah.
It also doesn't seem like she's familiar with the outside world. So it's not like they're just bringing her to these places. And then when you think back on Raynor and her head exploding as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, too. It's like, I guess I assumed that Stormfront used her, but I don't know if Cindy and Stormfront are pals like that, where even though she's contained in this place to go out and have her and trust her to do hits for you.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's why it makes me believe that it could be another soup, and it may have some sort of connection to Stan Edgar. Because Stan Edgar is not at this hearing. You would think that the CEO of Vought would be present at this hearing. So what's his excuse? We haven't seen him for a couple of episodes. I think he's going to make an appearance in episode 8.
Yeah, and
we'll get more explanation because, like we said, they've been attributing these head explosions to Stormfront. It can't be Stormfront. I don't think. I think that's a conclusion we can draw here.
Well, this saves Vought.
Yes.
I
think the reason why I think it could be
why
the
would
church,
Cindy escape and then, unless she's just on I hate humanity, I want to kill everybody who put
But this was a very strategic killing.
But Vogelbaum, they imply that he headed Sage. So this might just be revenge for her.
That's a good point.
Oh, here's fucking Shockwave. Fuck that guy. I'm an A-Train fan.
I think Cindy's a big A-Train guy.
But like she kills Vogelbaum, and then she's just like, fuck everyone else. Like, they don't care about me. I've been stuck in this cell for the past God knows how long, so I'm just gonna take it out on everybody. I said that after last episode. Maybe she doesn't join the boys or like anyone else. Maybe she's just on a full out killing spree. And
right.
This obviously, you kill Vogelbaum, the testimony's done, so Vaught's seemingly safe. You create another, this was publicly broadcasted, so you create another, I guess, propaganda piece as we need more soups. This is another super terrorist. So Vought comes out on top here, I think. Minus a speedster.
And I think the case that you can make, minus a speedster, for the church being behind this attack is that they kill off Shockwave. Like you said, they saved Vought. The church very much wants Vought to be standing because that's where they want to wield their influence. They want their members inside the Seven. And obviously, Alistar has a relationship with Stan Edgar. Maybe this comes up at that meeting. Hey, I did you a favor at that hearing. Why don't you do my boys a favor? It seems like you're down a speedster, right?
Yeah.
And the Deep, hey, man, he's never officially been out. I think that's a conspiracy, but I like your idea, too, that Cindy could just be this rogue individual on this crusade against everyone who's wronged her, which fits right in with the themes of this show.
I'm looking forward to next week, the finale. Only 8 episodes, but I'm very excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, we're going to see the giant battle, right? The war with all the supers battling it out because they got to tie it up or else Teddy's going to be upset.
No, I mean...
He's going to spam the IMDb.
Well, I can't wait to see how they resolve this season and kind of push forward for future seasons. That's always an interesting kind of thing to juggle where if you tie everything up, then it's kind of like where we're going to go next season. And if you don't tie enough up, it's just a massive cliffhanger and you have to wait a year. So it's hard to find that balance of satisfactory season finales.
Right, and they're actually bringing on guest writers for the finale. D&D, David Benioff and D.B. Wise.
Shut up.
So it should be good.
And the channel.
Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Beau Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at NerdSoup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers: My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Aaron, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Beau Oliver, and I support this message.